Super Mario Bros. Franchise has a lot of boss battles, and some of them are the Koopalings, and some of them are original boss battles. Today I'll be counting down the top 15 boss battles from the new Super Mario Bros. Series. That includes the DS, Wii, 2 and U. Now before I start, I'm only counting the castle and the airship bosses. So any fortress bosses are not going to be included since they're not really bosses, they're more mini bosses. So if you're happy with that, let's get going. The final fight from new Super Mario Bros. DS will kick off this list. And you need to fight Bowser and Bowser Jr. at the same time. I really like the atmosphere of this boss, having to fight two bosses at the same time. But unfortunately, this boss is fairly easy. It's very easy for a final boss, but I still really enjoy fighting this boss. There's a pretty good climax to the game, but nothing too crazy going on. The Mummy Pokey will await you in World 2 of new Super Mario Bros. DS. This boss will appear out the ground and shoot grey balls at you, and then go back into the ground. You need to jump on his head when it's only half of his body is out the ground. And sometimes it will trick you. Sometimes it will pop out of the ground, only to go straight back into the ground immediately after. This boss is pretty good and I really enjoyed fighting it. Still a bit on the easy side, but it's the boss of World 2, so that's to be expected. The final boss of new Super Mario Bros. U is a fairly half-decent boss. Bowser grows into an absolute humongous size and you need to knock Bowser Jr. out of his Koopa Clown cart, use it for yourself and smash Bowser in the face with it. While Bowser tries to breathe fire all over you. Just like in new Super Mario Bros. DS, I like the idea of fighting Bowser and Bowser Jr. at the same time. But there's one problem with this fight. Bowser is so slow. So this fight is pretty much a cakewalk. Honestly, Bowser takes like a century to actually carry out his attacks. If Bowser's attacks were a little bit faster, then this fight wouldn't be too bad. It will be a lot higher on this list. But I just cannot get over how slow he is on this fight. And this is the first Koopaling fight of this list. The castle fight of World 5 in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Iggy Koopa will await you. And throughout the fight, Iggy is riding on a Chain Chomp, and Mario has to get behind the Chain Chomp in order to attack Iggy. Once Iggy takes damage, the Chain Chomp will change direction and gets faster. I love this boss, it's so fun and it keeps you on your toes. And also look at Iggy during this fight, he looks like he's having so much fun whilst riding on that Chain Chomp. Wow. Iggy is one crazy Koopaling. In the castle fight of World 4, you will fight Wendy O. Koopa. Most of this fight will take place underwater, and when the battle arena is flooded, you cannot stomp on Wendy due to Mario's jump not exerting enough force to make Wendy take damage. So you have to wait for the room to be drained in order to defeat her. Because of this makes the battle so much harder. You definitely did not defeat this boss in your first go, and don't write a comment saying that you did because you are lying. This boss is so difficult, or maybe I just sucked at the game, either way. Anyway, I love how the final hit, Wendy starts jumping really high. I don't know why, but I've always loved that. It's just a great boss, and a pretty difficult one as well. And yeah, you definitely did not defeat this boss in your first go. Just don't tell me that, because I will not believe it. Let's go to new Super Mario Bros. 2, and at the end of World 5 you will fight Ludwig von Koopa, and he likes to hang on a chain and attack you from above. In order to defeat him, you need to go into a warp pipe that will shoot you up and will stun Ludwig, then you can attack him. In the final hit, he starts to swing on the chain, so you need to time your attacks. This boss does have some challenge to it, and I like the battle for it, especially in the final hit. This boss does have some challenge to it, and I generally do like the battle, especially in the final hit where Ludwig starts swinging. This is a really good boss, not too easy and not too difficult. The Lemmy Koopa fight in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Lemmy usually fights Mario on top of a bouncy ball, but in this fight the ball grows to a massive size. Now Mario has no choice but to use the bouncy balls that Lemmy tries to attack you with. Sometimes Lemmy will start bouncing on the ball from one side to another, and that will make the boss that much harder. The boss is actually pretty difficult for World 3, and like the Wendy-O Koopa fight, you definitely have not beaten this boss in your first go. So it still is a pretty awesome fight, and it's a pretty interesting idea of using bouncy balls as hazards, as well as, obstacles to help you attack Lemmy, as well as the slippery ice. It's just a whole package this fight is. Going back to New Super Mario Bros. DS, at the end of World 3 you would fight a giant fish called the Cheap Skipper, which by the way is an awesome name. The Cheap Skipper will be accompanied by some smaller Cheeps, and they will try and jump out the water to try and take down Mario. This boss is fairly difficult, to be fair, because the Cheap Skipper can jump at you at any moment without warning, so you need to be on your toes at all times. But seriously, that name, Cheap Skipper, whoever came up with that name in Nintendo needs to get a raise, possibly a promotion, because that is just such an awesome name. But anyway, number 8 is the Cheap Skipper. You'll fight Bowser Jr. 3 times in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. The one that cracks this list is the second fight at the end of World 6 Airship. In this fight, Bowser Jr. will jump into his Koopa Clown Cart, and you have one of your own, and Mario and Bowser Jr. will try to push each other into the electric walls. This is such a fun boss battle, and it's like bumper cars. It's so creative and I love it. It's so much fun just to bash Bowser Jr. into an electric fence whilst he tries to do the same with you. It's amazing. Ready if more boss fights were like that? Iggy Koopa is one crazy Koopaling, and in New Super Mario Bros. U that is no exception. In this fight he'll go for a warp pipe and he'll be on the ceiling and will shoot green and red fireballs. The red ones, when coming in contact with the lava below, will create a massive lava monster. In this fight, Iggy is just full of energy and he is literally bouncing off the walls. It's so fun and it's so hectic. It's just so amazing. In World 7 in New Super Mario Bros. DS, you'll fight a really awesome boss I name the Lucky Thunder. Before this boss does anything, we can tell that this boss is going to be good because he wears the coolest pair of shades you have ever seen in a video game. This boss is basically like a normal Lucky Chew. He throws spinies at you, but this one also shoots lightning bolts out of his cloud as well, which makes the boss even more cooler. The only complaint I have about this boss is that it is a little bit on the easy side, but it still is a really brilliant boss battle. But seriously, those sunglasses, like, wow. Yeah, I've already spoken about this boss in my top 5 best and worst Bowser battles, so I'll be brief with this one. But I'll never forget the first time I saw this boss. In fact, let me show you a clip of when I first ever saw this boss.
Whoa! That was so close, I almost died in the lava! And that was even closer! Whoa, that was close. I think I've done it! Please don't come back. Come on, please don't. Please don't.
It was pretty awesome. Bowser shoots fireballs and swings his claws and jumps to create lava waves to try to attack you. And you need to traverse around platforms to eventually press a switch that makes Bowser drown in lava. This battle is like an ultimate platforming level rather than an actual duel, and it is still awesome and a brilliant way to end a brilliant game. Absolutely fantastic final boss, Nintendo. Oh man, the Monty Tank. This boss is awesome. For starters, it's a Monty Mole inside of a tank. Like, how cool is that? This Monty Mole isn't any old Monty Mole though. He looks like he is the boss or the commander of an entire squadron of Monty Moles. He will throw bombs at you at his tank and will shoot bullet bills at you. And once you've attacked this Monty Mole, he will go berserk and start shooting lots of bullet bills from all angles, and added a layer to the tank, so then he could shoot even more bullet bills. This is such an awesome boss battle, and I love it. That Monty Mole is an absolute legend. Like, he just does not care. Just casually, just chucking bombs, firing bullet bills. He does not care. And I love it. What an awesome boss one simple old Monty Mole can be. That alone deserves to be the best boss battle in New Super Mario Bros. DS. But not quite the best boss battle in the New Super Mario Bros. Series. Well, let's get on to that then. Roy from World 2 Castle in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. At the start of this fight, there'll be massive warp pipes that will appear from the ceiling, and Roy jumps into one and comes out of the other warp pipe and tries to pound you. But sometimes, he will trick you by coming out of the warp pipe only to go straight back in! This is such a cool fight because you have to be quick on your toes with this one, because Roy can come out of the warp pipe at any time during this fight, so you have to be ready for it. Roy may not be my favourite Koopa in this game, but he certainly has one of the best boss fights. But he's not quite my favourite boss. My favourite boss fights that comes from the New Super Mario Bros. Series is the Ludwig von Koopa fight from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. He is the last Koopa that you'll fight before Bowser. In this battle, the battle arena consists of 3 small platforms that are moving up the stage during this battle. Ludwig will shoot 4 blue bolts at you, then jumps really high and land on a platform at random before shooting more blue bolts. When I first saw this fight, I was amazed at how awesome this fight was, and also how difficult it was as well. It was epic. In fact, I will never forget the first time when I actually beat this boss fight. I was with my friend Mackie77N and we beat the boss together. It took us about 5 attempts to beat this boss, but we finally did it, and boy did we feel like champions when we finally defeated this boss. This boss is so epic, and yeah, while it does have a little bit of a nostalgia advantage, it still is and always will be the best boss from the New Super Mario Bros. Series. Ludwig von Koopa, you may not be my favourite Koopling, you may be my second favourite Koopling, but you definitely have the best boss fight. So, have that award, Ludwig. Well, that's the list. What do you think about that? Thank you all for watching this video, and if you liked the video at any point or agreed with some of my picks, then give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Until then, I shall see you all next week.